Welcome everybody to Git Bit Podcast, the blur podcast that tries to cover everything sort of pop culture, which means we cover video games, anime, and all that good stuff. I am your host, most Will Buchanan. Before I do get started, I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. I was until Tom Brady decided to welcome himself back to the Super Bowl. Yes, I am not a Tom Brady fan. No, I do not think he's the GOAT. At the same time, there are plenty of other greater quarterbacks than him, and let's just be honest, Tom Brady has the inevitable ability to have late flags called upon him when someone basically breathes in his arm, when someone basically breathes in his direction. Yes, I am hating. I do not like Tom Brady. I personally think he's a douche. Aside from that, guys, welcome. Yeah, amazing. I started out with a Tom Brady rant. But again, as you like I said, if you're paying attention right now, it looks like the Super Bowl is going to be. It is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it looks like if the Kansas City Chiefs hold on, it'll be them going back again with Patrick Mahomes facing Tom Brady. And again, I was like, I put it in my Facebook post, Tom Brady is going to the Super Bowl again. And I have a bunch of friends coming to me, oh, is he assistant quarterback now, Will? Because he's on a different team and he still went to the Super Bowl. He's the GOAT. No, he is not. He is a mediocre quarterback. That is all that he is. I am not going to keep on going back and forth about this, about Tom Brady being a mediocre. He is a mediocre quarterback. There's nothing more to say to it. The fact that he has a wonderful receiving core around him that just need a decent quarterback. The Bucs could have been Super Bowl champs 3 times in a row by now. But again, I digress. Yes, BJ, I feel exactly that same way. And because I'm trying to make this a family-friendly show, I cannot say your comment. But understand, BJ, even though you're a Florida fan and I'm a Bama fan, understand on this subject we agree. But let's not make it all about Tom Brady because the NFL already does that anyway, and probably most of SportsCenter will anyway. Let's go ahead and get into it. We do have some gameplay news, especially about WereWolf, the Apocalyspe Earthblood. Some new details, actually some gameplay that was actually released last year, but it looks like it just now started to make the waves. And I actually reviewed this game as it was shown in a showcase about a few months back. So I was actually, I want to say December, not even December. I want to say before the pandemic hit, I guess you could say. Before the pandemic of 2020 hit us, that they did talk about World of the Apocalypse Earthblood. Well, anyway, they do have a little bit of a 7-minute gameplay of how the game is going to show. We're just going to show a little bit of it, and then just do our review about it.
You play a werewolf called Cahal, and you're fighting Andron, an oil company destroying the environment. In this mission, Cahal and his pack need to sabotage some flare stacks. With help from Ava, a guru from the Glasswalker tribe, and a computer specialist, they managed to hack into the first flare stack.
Ava, I've connected you to the first flare stack.
Good. Keep it up. We've got this.
Using his shape-shifting ability, Cahal can transform into a wolf to move around faster. You can transform into 3 different forms, and each one has distinct gameplay mechanics. The human form is used for social and environment interactions. The wolf form is the best form for infiltration and exploration, and the Krynos form is used for combat. By selecting and alternating between these forms, you can choose which approach to use for the different situations you encounter during the game. If infiltration fails, the Krynos form is often the only choice you have left. In combat, the Krynos has 2 stances. The first is designed for agility, allowing the beast to move around quickly and perform fast attacks while having great mastery of the terrain. Rage is central to combat. It builds up as you deal damage to the enemies and allows the Krynos to perform special moves. Confronted with stronger enemies, the Krynos will want to switch to the more powerful stance, which sacrifices agility for greater strength and resistance. By switching between these 2 stances, you'll be more effective during combat. Guru are vulnerable to silver bullets, and some of Andron's guards use them for ammo. Damage from silver is not healed by the Krynos' healing ability. Therefore, it removes a portion of your health bar for the duration of the fight.
Things have gone south. We need reinforcements. Say
After the fight is finished, Cahal can transform into human form and continue his mission. Let's
Okay, so I'm just gonna cut off right there because, like I said, it's a seven minute video. I don't want to really go too much into it. I understand this is the first look. I'm gonna be honest. After looking at it, it's I guess that okay. This is the pre-alpha stage. I mean, I hope it's a little bit more polished because looking at the game, I'm not really impressed for it to be one of the first PS5 releases. It's like I said, it just looks like, I mean, like I said before, I'm not trying to judge a book by its cover on this, but I hope the next showings they have are going to be significantly better. It's just that from the look of it all, it just looks like it's outdated. And like I said, take this with a grain of salt because this is just the rendering. I mean, it's not really polished as of yet. So I like the fact that, of course, the three forms of the werewolf and the powers, and each one has its strengths and weaknesses. Okay, cool. But at the same time, it's just I'm more concerned about how it looks from a graphic standpoint because I mean, since we don't have actually mechanical gameplay to go off of, it's just a little difficult to really get a feel from that, honestly. But I would say right now, like I said, we'll take it with a grain of salt and just see from there exactly what happens. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just not. I mean, I'm so on the fence of not sure that it's not even funny. And I was one of the ones that actually looked forward to playing this game. I still look forward to playing this game. It's just that I hope it is slightly better than what we're getting right now. So again, take it with a grain of salt. But I just think the gameplay they've showed so far, it just doesn't pull me. I guess it doesn't get me excited enough to pre-order. But I'll tell you what did. I'll tell you what did actually get me to pre-order this weekend, and it's only because they teased that they would do a showcase this week, and of course, Capcom did not disappoint with Resident Evil Village.
Hey now, think positively, all right? We talked about this.
I know. We hardly talk about anything else.
Castle bell heralds danger. The bell tolls for us all. They're coming again!
Mother Miranda, I regret to inform you that Ethan Winters has escaped that fool Heisenberg. Because he is in my castle and has already proven too much for my daughters to handle. When I find him... No, Mother Miranda. Yes, of course, I understand the importance of the ceremony. I won't let you down.
Can someone please tell me what the hell is going on here?
No. The place is full of nothing but blood and death.
Winters. There you are.
Who the fuck are you? Let's see what you're really made of. Ethan Winters.
Okay, so of course that was Resident Evil Village. Otherwise, that's actually the name title they're going for, even though it's kind of Resident Evil 8. And as you can tell from the trailer, it is still following the story of Ethan Winters. If you guys don't remember from Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, began the story of Ethan Winters, of course, trying to escape the house and the very messed up family. And of course, in this one, it looks like him and his wife managed to escape and create a life of their own. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, wait a minute, you could have saved the wife, or you could have saved Zoe. And I'm like, yeah, but you also got to remember, if you didn't save Zoe, Zoe still had its own DLC at the end of Zoe, in which her uncle saved her. The dude that had, he had hands of stone, for real. But again, I guess in this one it goes Squeaking Village, and of course Ethan's now a father, and it's now with the castle, and obviously vampires, and a very tall woman, which I'm guessing is a vampire woman. Oh, the cosplays and kinks that are going to come from this one. All in all, like I said, the only Resident Evil game that ever disappointed me was 6. But I did love 7. 7 was a return to horror in itself, and again, if Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8, however you choose to acknowledge it, if it follows exactly what Biohazard was, I'm down. It would be hard. Even though Capcom does get a lot of things wrong, they do get a lot of things right. And like I said before, with this coming out on May 7th, which isn't, the way time is going right now with 2021, time is flying. We're already at the end of January. Think about that. We blinked, it was New Year's. We blink again, we are a week away from it being February, folks. I am just saying. But this is one of those I'm already putting my pre-order stamp on. I'm actually going to pre-order this just because, again, Resident Evil 7, I didn't pre-order that one. I waited a little bit after the release was gone to actually play it. Loved it. So now I'm having a little bit more hope in Resident Evil Village. I'm definitely going to pre-order that and see how that goes. Also, with that being said, guys, what's other words I'm looking for here before I get too far ahead of myself? So aside from Resident Evil, just a brief recap on Walker. Like I said before, I did talk about Walker, the reboot that the CW is doing with one of the Supernatural brothers. I think Jared Padalecki is now playing the tumultuous character. After watching the first episode, the one thing I will say, guys, it is a little dark, and I do mean a little dark. If you're thinking it's going to be that Sunny Skies, Walker, Texas Ranger, Chuck Norris, makes you feel good at the end of every episode type of thing, it is not. They are definitely going a different direction with Walker's character, as far as, losing his wife and the mystery behind his wife's death, and, the reconciliation with his daughter, a new partner, and the fact that the partner has some secrets of her own. It's enjoyable to watch, but again, I'm still on the fence about it, because I guess with the first Walker episode, like I said, the pilot episode is the make or break episode for the actual series. And honestly, it's one of those things to where I'm just like, okay, we'll see where it goes, and if not, then we'll go from there, I guess you could say. It's just that I'm not really sure how that would run, honestly, given that situation. But hey, we'll just go from there. Like I said before, with my Walker episode, with any new television series or anime series that I watch, I always give it 3 episodes, because I'm doing that with the Watch right now for the BBC, and the Watch after 2 episodes, it just doesn't really seem to pull me. So again, I'm going to hope with the 3rd episode to finally, be that one that actually does. Also, another quick review of American Gods. If you have not seen American Gods on Starz, you really should. Especially after the episode 3 recap, of course, with Shadow Moon in a weird place. I will say it's a weird place, I think, because as the gods are trying to get together and really try to see what's going on, that Shadow Moon is now trying to find Biliquis, otherwise known as the goddess of Sheba, which if you watch that show, you know her ability. And just because I'm trying to keep this family oriented, watch American Gods and you'll see why some sunshine should just be left behind closed doors. Anyway, but again, it's the whole thing of Shadow, and I'm getting a little worried about American Gods because even though they're telling so much story in the third episode, it's just, you kind of feel like, okay, is this just one, are we going to have one more grinding slow burn? Because you got to keep in mind, they're still going to keep with the 8 episodes per season. And since we're already now on 3, that means that the next 3 episodes should pick up the pace rather very quickly, considering the fact that we won't be too far away from the season ending of American Gods Season 3, even though they've already been renewed for a Season 4. So, I'm just curious about how they did with Shadow Moon to only find Billiquis at the end that looks like she was going through a pregnancy, and then she just, I'm not going to say kidnapped by a peacock, but let's be honest, whoever came through that door with a chainsaw came through there with kidnapping purposes. But again, I guess we'll have to find out next week as far as what's going on with that, and especially the whole thing with Laura and the trip through Purgatory. The trip through Purgatory and kind of reliving her life. I'm personally thinking that somehow, some way, she is going to be pulled back to Purgatory. Because I'm wait a minute, I'm thinking to myself, wasn't the God of Death supposed to come get you when you're dead? Didn't he make it a point to sit there and say, the next time I come for you, I will deliver you to the void? I kind of remember he said that. And I was kind of waiting in season, this episode 3, it's like, okay, Laura Moon's in Purgatory. Where's he at? That was the main thing I kept thinking to myself, okay, where's the dude at? Because she's in Purgatory, she's dead after trying to give her coin back to Mad Sweeney, who is still sitting on a tab, alive or dead, but he didn't take hold of his coin, I guess. So it's just the whole point of seeing Laura Moon's, messed up family structures to make us feel like we should be a little bit equated to her, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it was a fun little detour. Do not get me wrong. It was a fun little detour in American Gods to watch Laura Moon's character as she tries to relive the fact, like, yes, I lived a messed up life. Okay, cool. But at the same time, I'm like, Shadow Moon spent the entire episode trying to find one individual and then find them at the end. That's the thing that kills me the most. But anyway, I still say American Gods is a great show. Definitely watch it because you might, if you don't watch American Gods, you should at least give it 3 episodes. But another trailer, but moving right along, guys, like I said, we don't really got a lot of information tonight. But I did want to talk about the trailer that everybody was waiting for, Godzilla versus King Kong.
This is our only chance. We have to take it. We need Kong. The world needs him. To stop what's coming. And this child. She's the only one he'll communicate with.
I knew that they had a bond. She had nowhere to go, so I made a promise to protect her. And I think that in some way, Kong did the same. Godzilla.
These are dangerous times.
Godzilla's out there and he's hurting people and we don't know why.
There's something provoking him that we're not seeing here.
I'm of the same opinion.
The myths are real. There was a war. And they're the last ones standing.
I keep reaching for greatness because I'm built from it.
Who bows to who?
Nobody gonna stop me. Here we go.
Kong bows to no one.
Here we go.
Okay, so that was Godzilla versus Kong. That was the trailer that was just released for it. I got several questions. Number one, wasn't Godzilla a little bit taller than King Kong? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm guessing they're trying to make it equal for purposes of the movie, but at the same time, it's like, okay, Godzilla's a bad guy. Last time I checked, Godzilla took down everybody else, but it's a different story. Okay, it's a different story. I'll give it different stories. I like different stories. Maybe Godzilla's a bad guy. I don't really know. Trying to sit there, they're trying to insinuate like they're not the first of their kind. Oh, okay. I am willing to go on a limb. But again, I'm always watching kaiju movies, so watching the king of the kaijus versus King Kong, it'll always answer that always nerd debate. Who would actually win in the fight? King Kong or Godzilla? I'm sorry, I always go with Godzilla because the dude has an undefeated streak. He's not like Conor McGregor. You don't get knocked out in the second round when you call yourself the best. But again, Godzilla vs. Kong, that will be coming out this year because it's Warner Brothers. It more than likely will be on HBO Max because I keep on telling you guys, right now, anything trying to go to the movie theaters right now is going to be a moot point because Marvel's already pushed back a lot of their movies. Black Widow, Sony has pushed back Uncharted along with a handful of other movies. It's just that it's not feasible within this pandemic to actually go to a movie theater, even though right now you can actually rent out a movie theater with you and your friends. I'm sorry, but Warner Brothers, albeit from Marvel, Warner Brothers is making the smart move. They're going to release it in theaters as well as release it on HBO Max. And if you already have HBO Go, then you already have HBO Max. Or if you have, depending on your provider, they may include that as part of your package. You can still watch that way. I'm watching it that way because that's how I watch Wonder Woman 84. And even then, if you go back to my previous podcast where I talked about Wonder Woman 84, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best movie. I'm just going to be honest with you, but it was okay. But moving right along, guys, with reviews. WandaVision. Episode 3 had just came out, and let's be honest, this is a spoiler-filled review because if you have not seen WandaVision yet, and you're still waiting to see episode 3, now would be the good time to mute me or go watch something else, just because we're going to talk about it. WandaVision itself, I have been saying this because a lot of people have sat there and said the pace needs to pick up. Okay, it's a slow burn, understandably so. But again, my theory about this whole thing, and I said it before, keep in mind what I said about the Scarlet Witch. The Scarlet Witch has the ability to warp reality, which means she can make a whole bunch of people see whatever she wants them to see. And in this case, I personally believe Wanda took over a town and basically used it to heal her trauma. Keep in mind, she's still grieving over the death of Vision way back in Infinity War. And of course, Vision wasn't able to come back. So I think WandaVision is basically her trying to cope with the grief of keeping Vision somehow alive to where, she's not without him. And at the same time, to speed up pregnancy to where she has twin boys, which again makes me think we're going to see Wiccan and Speed. Now, they might not say Wiccan and Speed, but they might have those qualities of those twins. And keep in mind, of course, you're wondering, well, wait a minute, if Vision's a robot, how in the world was Wanda able to have kids? Well, in the comics, she actually created the kids through her own form of magic. However, that did pull from a different source, from a different deity, and caused a whole bunch of issues in the comics. But I guess in this case, they're trying to sit there and trying to bring Wanda's children into this somehow. They didn't actually say the names Wiccan and Speed, but I wouldn't be surprised if they, adapt those names down the line. And again, the whole idea of the black neighbor, sitting there saying some things that, of course, didn't sound right. Well, of course, Vision isn't real. He was killed a long time ago. How do you know that? Or she started, talking about her brother. Oh, well, yeah, your brother was killed by Ultron. How do you know that? It was that whole self-realization of, wait a minute, in this world, how do you have information that you're not supposed to have? And you see her, it's like, I think you need to, I think you need to calm down. And then the amazing part was Wanda ejects her from this reality, into which you see a whole bunch of people pick up and sit there and guns drawn, obviously, on this woman that was thrown out of a place that looks like it was a force field. But again, this will makes me think that in season 4 of WandaVision, in episode 4, not season 4, in episode 4 of WandaVision, I think it's going to come to the fact that Wanda is literally the one pulling the strings, and you see these people trying to get into this town, with the beekeeper and the fact that neighbors don't really remember anything, or if something were to happen, Wanda just snaps out of it and says, fixes it in some way, or even pulls back time. Because you even see Vision go, well, I'm not sure. And then the next scene he's like, oh, hi, Wanda. And you can kind of tell from WandaVision that I'm not saying Wanda's the bad guy, but she is the one controlling the strings. And you can tell that just because everybody else seems to tiptoe around her, especially the simple fact it's almost like only she is in on the joke, but everybody else is being controlled. And like I said before, that's Wanda's ability to warp reality as we know it. So again, I wouldn't be surprised by that. But moving right along, guys, like I said before, I'm still keeping up with WandaVision, with episode 4 coming out, I believe, this Friday, so we can definitely go from there. Also, I am introducing another thing called Second Chance Gaming, which means I am taking games that, when they first released, didn't really get a good welcoming. They were botched, they were patchy, things of that nature. But, a few years go by, we decided maybe we'll give it a fair shake. And Cyberpunk 2077 looks like it's going to be the next game I'm going to put under Second Chance Gaming. Reason being because we're going to be seeing some patches come through that are supposed to fix the issues with consoles.
Is that Cyberpunk 2077 will be improved over the next few years, including optimization updates, free DLC, and a 1.1 update that should arrive any day now. CD Projekt Red hopes for a No Man's Sky story where Cyberpunk is eventually improved to the point that it's regarded fondly in the future. Currently we are at patch 1.06, which came out on December 23rd, and as we look forward, I wanted to take one last look at this version and how it's performing on all hardware. Let's start with the base platforms and work our way all the way up to the PC version where...
Yeah, we're not going to do that because that's going to take way too much time for him to explain that basically the only people that are not having issues with Cyberpunk 2077 right now is basically PCs. Because it is a PC game, but it really, like I said before, with CD Projekt Red actually could make, trying to make sure the game is great, I can wait. And I think that after this patch goes through, which again should be any day now, I may treat that as my second chance game that I'm going to go back and go play and really give my review of Cyberpunk 2077 because again, with CD Projekt Red, them doing The Witcher and just this game just had so much hype behind it, it was just hard to believe that it's just not worth it. But again, that's why I want to go back and actually give it a fair chance once that patch goes through. And the last little bit of news I got, guys, honestly, is Injustice 3. Keep in mind, this is a rumor. Just because with Injustice 3 going on right now, for the simple fact of the matter, Injustice 3 usually follows a certain term. Usually follows a certain rhythm. In this case, whenever there's a new Mortal Kombat, there's a new Injustice. Now, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate was released back in November, which means that as we're now coming up on beginning of February, is usually where we get some Injustice information. Now, keep in mind, there hasn't been any news of Injustice 3. Injustice 2 was still a great game, but we haven't heard anything else except this tweet down here. Now, the reason why this is important is because Andy Sesnak is one of the NetherRealm studio guys that work on motion capture. As you can see the devices back there, he's pretty much saying, testing and blowing the dust off these and preparing for the next show. Now, keep in mind, NetherRealm Studios is involved with Injustice all along with Warner Brothers. And around about this time, an Injustice 3 game would be down the pipe, considering the fact of either that or Mortal Kombat DLCs. But because Mortal Kombat Ultimate is starting to shape up, and if it's going to add any more DLCs, it would have actually announced them by now. But at this point, it hasn't done so, which tells me, and again, take this with a grain of salt, that I believe that we might be hearing something about Injustice 3 very soon. Again, this is all a rumor, but that's just my gut feeling. Although, like I said before, I loved Injustice 3. I loved Injustice 2 and I loved Injustice 1. 2 actually did put it over the top, so I would not be surprised by that. And I'm looking forward to 3, if there's a 3. And I stress this very heavily. If. Because right now, nothing is confirmed. But beyond that, as far as for the anime tip, like I said, hopefully you guys, like I said before, are still watching. Fire Force right now is still on hiatus till next season. Demon Slayer is now on Netflix. So if you've never seen Demon Slayer before on Hulu, think of it like, again, it's one of those top tiers like My Hero Academia right now. If you haven't seen Demon Slayer, you have Netflix, watch the first 3 episodes. I think you will not be disappointed. I know I'm absolutely not disappointed because I'm still waiting on the Infinity Train to be at least If not dubbed, I can live with English subs, but I'm hoping that actually happens very soon because the movie was released last year in Japan, and with a lot of anime movies, it takes a full year before it actually goes across our shores before we can actually watch it. Jujutsu Kaisen, if you're not watching that, is also a good anime. As I said, I know I already mentioned Fire Force, Jujutsu Kaisen. Still waiting on Bleach. I still think, and this is my hope for all those who are Bleach fans, about the 1,000-Year Blood War. I hope it happens, just because I read the manga and actually went back and reread the manga again just to remind myself. That manga is so good that I cannot imagine. I hope the anime follows it because it tells so many good stories and it has so many good arcs in it. To the way the Bleach really should have ended, not the ending that we got back on episode 366. But again, we will find out because we're still hoping for the anime to be released. And I know I'm a little late to the boat, but I'm trying to catch up on One Piece because One Piece is that never-ending anime, but I still believe it is worth watching, especially with the fact of the matter is that there are so many good arcs that it's at, and I know I'm way behind. I know One Piece is like 900 plus episodes, but I hope to catch up with that as well. So with that being said, guys, that's really all the information that I have here. Like I said, also we do have some new. We're gonna have some new changes going on. Git Bit, just because a lot of the shows that I usually watch and usually try to catch up with are happening on Sundays, which is actually the same time I'm doing Git Bit Podcast. We might actually think about moving Git Bit to either Monday or Friday nights, just because it gives us a chance to catch up with everything. Because we want to basically give you guys all the information we possibly can. So we might be moving Git Bit to either Monday or Friday. I'm thinking more along the Friday night, just because we'll be able to get everything we want to at that, and then we'll do breaking news from there. Because like I said, we're trying to give you guys the blurred side of pop culture, and hopefully I'm doing my best to do so on that. But aside from that, guys, before I do get here, I do got to do some shameless plugging. I will start with my buddy Vaughn, who is currently watching this. Big BZA down on Facebook, has a few podcasts of his own. If you go to Big BZA down on Facebook, and if you friend him, trust me, he's friendly sometimes. You can definitely go to his videos, as he will be returning very soon podcasting, and trust me, he is definitely well missed in that category. But I'll just go briefly over his shows, so you guys gotta understand. You can be aware. You can see the caveat of podcasts that he has. The first one is called the VST Intercast, which is basically a news podcast. That news can be music, video games, or trailers. I call Vaughn the king of weird trailers because he always finds the most interesting ones. Some of them are a little out there, I will say that, but then a lot of them are really good. And also, it's an interactive show, as you can see from the comments on the side. So definitely, when that goes back live again, you'll be able to talk to him the same way I will, because trust me, I do that a lot when he brings up weird trailers. The other show he calls, because this is a family show, is called RAF. What is RAF? It is an entertainment show. Think of it like America's Funniest Home Videos, but ran like a black guy. Because what Vaughn does is he'll take a theme and try to find videos to it. And trust me, a lot of those videos are funny, and a lot of videos will make you wonder how they are still alive. But it's always entertaining, interactive, just like the VSTs. And of course, his other podcast, which I can't wait for that to come back, is the Rhythmness Music Podcast, where you can reminisce over the rhythm. Vaughn, myself, and others basically listen to music either Vaughn finds or he asks us to find, whether new or old, and we listen to it and give our opinion on it. And Vaughn's whole mission behind Rhythmness is to bring you music you never heard before, because sometimes we do get in our bubbles about music, and even though there's plenty of new music out there that we might like, that we may never try or may never get the chance to, and that's what Rhythmness Music is all about. It's just bringing you new music that you never heard before. So therefore, if you do find something that you love, that you can join it, because that's all music is. Music is one big hodgepodge, and it's always good for the soul anyway. And of course, the last show that Vaughn has is more of a pop-up show. It's called Fonkin' Around, because Vaughn makes beats like this. Now, if you haven't noticed, Vaughn is a beat maker. As you can tell by his setup that he likes to make beats. Hopefully he'll be jumping back into the pool of beat making. But he loves to show the process from beginning to end. And of course wants to put it up there for the world to see. Now, Fonking Around is usually a daily thing, or sometimes a multiple daily thing, depending on when the mood strikes Vaughn. But if you're into music and you're into beats, then definitely check out Fonkin' Around. And also check out the other Caveat shows that he has under his Facebook page at BigBZA. And definitely look up BigBZA on social media to know when he'll be returning, because he will be very, very soon. Also, do you like custom apparel shirts? Well, that's actually where Little Creations Kelly's about to come in, because she makes shirts like this. If you believe that y'all should have Christmas shirts because reasons, or if you like shirts that are about that lock life, or if you have shirts like Man Down or just something custom in general, Kelly can actually help you with that within reason. Also, if you like cups, or shirts that you can have for birthday parties for kids, or masks, because masks are still vital. She can actually help you with that. As long as it's reasonable, she can definitely do her best to see about accommodating you, also with reasonable prices. And at the same time, she has very different styles that she does, such as these shirts here, and also a mask that you can pick, pull, and pop, which is the weirdest thing you want to put on a mask, but hey, whatever tickles your fancy. Anyway, for all the custom hardware and things of that nature, definitely look up Little Creations by Kelly on Facebook, because as you can see, this is just a handful of the stuff she does, along with the pricing that you can see there for your benefit. So if you do have something in mind that you want customly made done on a t-shirt or mug or apron or just a mask, look up Little Creations by Kelly, as she'll be able to help you with that. Also on Facebook. And also, because it's on Facebook, guys, it's getting close to Valentine's Day. Let's be honest. We are 2 weeks away from it. And a lot of us really ain't giving it no thought. I will be honest. Pandemics have shut us down from really being romantic. But Tanya's Touch of Elegance can actually help with that. Not only does she does catering, she has a Valentine's Day special that I want to play for you guys.
Hi, I'm Tanya with Tanya's.
Whoops. Let's try it again.
Hi, I'm Tanya with Tanya's Touch of Elegance. And during this COVID time, trying to stay safe, we are going to present a Valentine's Day special for two. I'm going to present this video, and you just give me a call or text me at the end of the video and let me know if you're interested, and we can have a dinner for two delivered to you. I will have the prices forthcoming by the end of the week, but just a little something to pique your interest. Thank you.
Okay, so as you can see, guys, that's actually her Valentine's Day special by Tanya's Touch of Elegance. I'm actually going to switch the video back over there because, again, if you guys want to basically look into the things she has, because I'm going to be honest with you, them steaks look good. I'm more of a steak and fries type of person, but hey, steak and potatoes, whatever fits your fancy. And Wolf for Reserve goes great with Pepsi. God, I miss alcohol. Aside from that, guys, like I said, let me switch it back to her. Let me switch it back so you guys can see it. So give me a second here. So that's actually Tanya's Touch of Elegance. You can reserve via Facebook Messenger. You can reserve via Facebook Messenger at Tanya's Touch of Elegance, or call the number that you see at the screen there. Either way, you'll be able to go to Tanya's Touch of Elegance and be able to see it there for you guys' benefit. Actually, okay. I guess my thing decided it's gonna do what it wants to. That's cool. Aside from that, guys, like I said before, as far as for me and my shameless plugging goes, of course, how it usually happens, the link at the bottom, if you just copy and paste that into your browser, it will take you to the Git Bit YouTube page to see every podcast that I've done this far. And also, like I said, with the scheduling, it depends, because I said we might be switching Git Bit from Sundays. I think I want to try Friday, so we will be switching it to this Friday from 8 to 10 p.m. just to actually see how it would flow. Hopefully it'll be a lot more accommodating to you guys. But usually every Tuesday, but still Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. is the Burned Out Podcast, in which I tell stories about an IT experience with the public. So if you worked in retail, you worked in customer service, you work with the public in general, and you got a few special stories, you're going to find mine funny, because that's the whole point of just laughing and entertaining yourselves. So if you find it funny, that's great. If you don't, lighten up, because I'm probably talking about you. And of course, every Wednesday will be the How the Frack We Got Here, my U.S. political news podcast, in which we will recap the week on Wednesday from 8 to 10 p.m. Just pretty much going over everything, but doing it from an informational standpoint, because all we're trying to do is inform you. We're not trying to persuade you or change your mind or things of that nature, just simply inform you and allow you to make up your own mind by yourself. Aside from that, on Wednesdays from 8 to 10 p.m., we will have a weekend recap of How the Frack We Got Here on Saturdays between 10 a.m. to noon. Of course, as I said before, this Friday coming up will be the first trial run for Git Bit from 8 to 10 p.m. And of course, later on that Saturday between 8 to 10 p.m. will be the Apocalyspe Podcast. This podcast that definitely goes there without limits, because we do talk about anything and everything. And I do mean anything and everything, because just yesterday, we talked about the inevitability of intergender sports. And trust me, that got a lot of people's attention. And that's all we're trying to do. Talk about the things that nobody wants to talk about, because that's how we move forward as a people. So, all of my shows can be found under my Facebook page at William Buchanan, or on their own Facebook or YouTube pages. So whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, look them up by their names: The Burned Out Podcast, How the Frack We Got Here, The Optimus Podcast, and Git Bit, that is GITBIT, to see every podcast that I've done thus far. Aside from that, guys, I do want to thank you all for watching. Also, please be safe, guys, with COVID-19 still out there. Please wear a mask. Please do social distancing. Please avoid large crowds if you can. And also, if you're a nurse or a doctor and you just come across this podcast, first and foremost, thank you. You nurses, doctors, nurses' aides, doctors' aides, those that work in environmental services, hospitals, you guys are real MVPs for actually dealing with this pandemic through very exhausting and tiring shifts of making sure that sick people are cared for, at the very same time trying to protect your own families from not letting this pandemic go farther. And also, thank you, essential workers. And also, I'm telling everybody, be kind to essential workers. I'm talking about the ones that work in fast food, that work in retail, that work in customer service, that work in gas stations, grocery stores, truck drivers, those that work in warehouses like Amazon, and those that, work for logistical places like United States Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and USPS, FedEx, and DHL. A lot of us are able to work from home, and that's great, but a lot of us also did not have that opportunity. So, we do want to thank the ones that still go in there and try to work and keep the lights on for the rest of us. Aside from that, guys, like I said before, unfortunately, Monday's coming up for a lot of us. That means work, unless you're one of the two people that won the Powerball sometime Wednesday. And I don't think anybody won the Mega Millions. Let me double check that real quick. Survey says... Oh, okay. Somebody did win. It just dropped down to 20 million. Okay, so if you're a Powerball winner or you're a Mega Millions winner, congratulations. Aside from that, guys, and the rest of us, please be safe, be kind to each other, and we'll get through this. Aside from that, I'm trying to see if my podcast is going to end properly, because right now it is. Well, this is a first. I'm not sure if I'm still broadcasting or not. I still hope I am. But with that being said, guys, and this is definitely going to end it here, because I'm fairly certain my machine has decided to stop running. So if you guys are seeing this, I apologize. I promise I'll fix it later. But I do thank you for watching. And like I said, if you commented live, I certainly appreciate it. And if you're watching this on the playback, please comment if it's live. I just want to know you guys' opinion. Aside from that, this has been the Git Bit Podcast, and you guys be cool. Peace. Oh.